Hi, rabbits and jaguars. Happy Friday. I hope you're out enjoying some of the beautiful sunshine, get some fresh air. If you've already checked one of the other links in our Google Classroom, we're learning about our lungs and how they provide oxygen for the rest of our body. So go out, get some fresh air. If you are looking for something to do indoors this weekend, especially if it does start to rain, I've got a fantastic project for you that combines a little bit of art with a little bit of math. So this is called a Sierpinski triangle, and I'll show you what it's going to look like. So this is a Sierpinski triangle, and this is an example of what's called fractal art. So a fractal is something that can actually grow exponentially bigger or smaller versions of itself. So as you can probably tell already, we would be able to make this as big or as small as possible. So I'm going to show you how to make this today. So we're going to start with a piece of paper, and it's helpful to have a ruler. When I was using this first, I actually just sort of plotted out a little bit how big I wanted my triangle to be, and I started with an equilateral triangle. So I made everything 30 centimeters for the sides, and I just marked it off lightly with my pencil. I did find it's important to go lightly with your pencil, just so that you're not going to have any really dark lines if you do have to erase it. And I'm just going to double check that all my sides are approximately 30 centimeters long, and I nailed that one, so I'm pretty happy with myself. So I'm just going to go nice and light on there to join up my vertices. And of course I know this is an equilateral because I've got equal length sides, and all of my angles are equal as well, as we were just learning about before the break. So there's my beginning triangle. So this is phase one. This is actually a little bit of a pattern as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark the midpoint. Now I could eyeball this, but since I know that I did 30 centimeters, I'm going to say half of 30 is 15. So I'm just going to put a very small hash mark at 15 centimeters on each side. And then I'm actually just going to go ahead and join those up. So I'm going to lay my ruler down. And this is why I wanted to go nice and lightly with my pencil, so that if I do decide I've made a mistake, I can quickly erase that. So you'll see now I actually have 4 congruent triangles, smaller versions. And 3 of them facing the same way as the original one, and 1 facing the opposite direction. So what I actually want to do at this point is I'm going to color in this one triangle. I'm just going to go very quickly on this, and you may want to even use a ruler as you are coloring in, just to get those really nice straight lines. If you do make a mistake, you can always cover it up with a ruler afterwards when you trace all your lines again in a nice dark color as well. So I'm just going to do a very quick version of this for now, just so you don't have to watch me color for too long. And I'll color this in a little darker later. It is really helpful to be coloring as you go, just so you remember which parts are going to stay colored in and which parts are going to continue the fractal effect. So I'll continue that a little later. If you had paint, you could even do that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the process. So now each of these triangles here in, this is phase 2, each of these triangles here actually has to be split up. So because these were 15 centimeters, I'm thinking, well, if they were 14, that would be 7 centimeters would be the half point. I've got an extra centimeter, so I actually want 7.5 centimeters for each of these hash marks. And again, I'm just going very lightly. And I'm going to join those up. Okay. And then I'm going to color in that center triangle. And I think it's really nice actually for this art project if you use different shades or even different colors. You tend to see the effect a little bit more. Oh, that's better. So I'll do this as all different blues here. And again, I'm going to go over this later on, fill it in really nicely. Like I said, this is a great project for a rainy day because it does take a fair bit of time. Okay, and then I would actually do the same thing for the other two lower triangles. Then I'm going to repeat for each of these smaller triangles. So if that's 7.5, oh, now it's getting complicated. I'm thinking I'm going to have to actually be about, 3 3/4. I'm going around here. And you can always eyeball it too, if you want, especially with these smaller ones. It might be easier at this point just to give an approximate halfway point. Okay, yeah, not bad. And this one, yeah, I probably need to move that line over a little bit, so I'm just going to erase. There we go, a little bit closer. Okay, and then again, I'll choose a different shade of blue if I've got it. Even darker. Okay, and I would continue making all of these small triangles divided. I would divide these ones just like I did this one. So as you'll see, the effect has to continue, but when you keep going with it, it can end up looking like this, and I can continue dividing smaller and smaller. And really, depending on how sharp your pencil is and how patient you are, this can get to very, very small dimensions. It doesn't have to be an equilateral triangle either. I did this one with an isosceles triangle, so only two sides were the same length. So a little bit of a different effect. And you'll see this one after I was done, I also went over all my lines with a black marker, and it tends to make it look a little bit crisper as well. You could even try this with different shapes as well. Maybe there's other polygons that could work for this particular project as well. So try this one out at home. And perhaps if you'd like, when you finish up, you can share an example of your Sierpinski triangle, your fractal art, post it on the classroom and show everyone what you've been working on. Have a great weekend, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, and stay healthy.